I'm Marissa. I'm a registered dietitian that I've been practicing for about 7 years. I love being a dietitian to help people translate nutritional science into usable real-life application. I'm really looking forward to touring you around today. Before entering a grocery store, it's always a great idea to have a game plan in mind. To have really a true idea of what you're going to purchase and what you're going to use those ingredients for, I find it really helpful to do some pre-planning. Here I have my grocery list, and this shopping list helps me know what I'm going to be purchasing, helps me know which department I'll be purchasing it from, and really keeps my budget on track. By having a grocery list that you've written out in advance that includes all the items you need for all the meals you're planning on making and snacks you might be eating for the week, it can really save you time, energy, and money, right? You'll be preventing yourself from doing excess grocery trips, you'll be preventing impulse buys, and you'll also be maximizing your time. In addition to having a grocery list in mind, it's also great to go into your grocery trip knowing what your budget is. This can help you plan and really organize your trip. If you know you have a certain amount to spend, you'll also be more likely to stay on track and maximize your budget. It's also great to be coupon savvy and use coupons as you need them for items you were already planning on purchasing. Another great tip is avoiding going grocery shopping when you're hungry. You might find that this really inflates your grocery budget, right? If you're very hungry and everything looks like you need to purchase that. When I'm entering a grocery store, I tend to focus my shopping around the perimeter of the store. This is where you're going to find some of the freshest items in that store. For example, the produce, the dairy, the deli and meat, and also the bakery items. And so by focusing there, you're going to reduce your chances of buying some of those more processed food items. I still definitely go into those aisles and I can find quality ingredients like canned beans or canned tomatoes, frozen food items. However, I really find that the most value can be found from the perimeter. We're here in the produce aisle, and I want to point out some of my low price leaders here in this aisle, things that you're going to find year-round for the best value. Things like celery, onions, apples, bananas, and potatoes. Not only do these items store well in a refrigerator or keep fresh in cold storage, but they're really going to be year-round an excellent purchase for produce. They tend to be a slightly lower cost all season. However, if I want to buy something out of season, like say strawberries, but it's in the middle of winter, you're going to find that that price is going to be much higher. So another tip that I find in the produce aisle is to really focus on fresh vegetables and fruit that's in season. Not only will it have better flavor and also really store better, but it's also going to be much better cost. For example, you could save double on something like strawberries or cherries when you're buying those items in season. So it does pay to know what's available and when, but also to focus on your year-round low-cost leaders. I'm here in the bulk aisle, and if your grocery store has a bulk section, this can be an excellent way to save some money. You might be thinking, why would that be? Well, when you're buying in bulk, you can buy as much or as little as you would like at a bulk price. For example, if your recipe is calling for 2 cups of brown rice, I can purchase exactly 2 cups of brown rice and prevent additional food waste and keep in my budget. So it can be an excellent way to really keep your food budget on track. Buying in bulk can save up to 80% compared to other items not in bulk, but it still pays to compare. One unique area in the bulk section, if your grocery store offers it, is the bulk spices department. This can be an excellent way to purchase spices that can really enhance a recipe, but keep it in your budget. I can scoop it out and buy just the amount that I might need for a recipe, no more, no less, for pennies. This can really enhance the recipe, make it tasty, make it flavorful, but not break your budget. When it comes to purchasing milk, it can be a really great way to add protein and calcium and also vitamin D into your diet. When I'm comparing milk, I like to also compare the nutritional value. I check the label, and really the biggest difference between whole milk and lower fat milks like skim milk, 1% or 2% milk, isn't the amount of calcium or the amount of protein in the milk or even the amount of carbohydrates. It's all about the amount of milk fat. So whole milk is going to be 4% milk fat, whereas the skim milk I'm holding is 0%. So if I want to really still get the maximum nutrition and maybe keep my dietary fat low, skim milk could be a great choice. You could always meet somewhere in between. I'm here in the yogurt section, which helps me show you how I would compare unit prices. Unit prices let you know the price per ounce, so you can really compare different sizes of things. This is especially useful in the yogurt aisle. For this aisle, I like to go ahead and look at the price per individual small single serving container. For example, it's priced at 31 cents an ounce. Sounds like a great deal, but once I pull up this bulk yogurt here, I'm gonna actually see that this is 21 cents an ounce. So a much better deal, even though the sticker price on the tag makes this look much more expensive. You can use unit price to compare all sorts of items from the store, from cereal aisle, to beans, to yogurt, to milk. I'm here in the canned food aisle, and this can be a great place to start looking for low-cost protein options. Canned beans can be an excellent source of protein, very convenient, and a great source of iron. They can also really maximize your grocery budget by helping you stretch meals. You can use beans for soups and stews. You can use them in lieu of meat for things like tacos or quesadillas. You can even use them with meat and 50% beans or lentils and 50% meat to really stretch your protein budget. When I'm looking at canned beans, if you want to and you're watching your sodium, you can absolutely find low sodium beans here. It'll say it right on the can. You can also look for beans and compare different sales. For example, you might find that a store brand might be a better price, could be half the price of a name brand option. So it really could pay to compare store versus name brand. The frozen food aisle can be an excellent place to look for great deals on different fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables are going to be frozen at their peak ripeness and freshness, and then going to be flash frozen, and by the time you reach it and cook it, you're going to have very little exposure to waiting on the grocery shelf or waiting in your refrigerator. So a lot of those nutrients are intact and ready for you to eat. I'm here in everyone's favorite aisle, the pasta aisle. One tip I like to think about is using 100% whole grain pasta. Let's check out the label and see whether or not this really fits the bill for a whole wheat product. The first thing I'm looking for is that the ingredient list starts with a whole grain or whole wheat flour. In this case, it does. It only has 2 ingredients, the whole wheat flour and water. So it's a great product. It's going to be filled with whole grains, which means it's going to contain the bran, portion of the wheat, which gives me added fiber. So compare this to the non-whole wheat version of the pasta, and this has double the amount of fiber, which will help you feel a little bit fuller after your meal, and also help you stay regular and help with your digestion. So added fiber is always an added bonus. I'm here in the meat aisle, and when I'm comparing different types of meat, I like to look for meat that might be on sale, that I could process myself and perhaps freeze the extra, and other ways and cuts that might save me some additional money. For example, if I had the time and energy to process this whole chicken, this can be a great way to save some money as compared to buying already deboned and skinned chicken thighs. When you're comparing meat, it can be a bit overwhelming in this section, but I always recommend looking at your price per pound. Just like unit price, the price per pound in the meat section can be a good way to make sure you're getting the best value. Some of your lowest cost leaders here in this section are going to be ground meat, such as ground beef, and the best cost for ground beef is often a family pack. That means an extra large pack of meat. What I tend to do with this right here is a few pounds, almost 3 pounds of beef. If I'm not planning on making burgers for a crowd or a large casserole with this, I'd parcel it into a few different portions, maybe a pound each, and freeze what I'm not intending to use. And so you can get many meals sometimes out of one large parcel of meat. The last protein option that can be a great money saver is eggs. Eggs are packed with protein, great for your skin, your eyes, for kids' growth, And these eggs are also an excellent source of complete nutrition. So eggs can be enjoyed for a breakfast, but they can also be enjoyed for all sorts of meals.